What's up, guys? Mike tapping in from Frisco, Texas. We've got an awesome show for you today. I want to tell you about it. The Cowboys searching for a new DC. AD still a Dallas Maverick at time of this recording. And also Jason Robertson left off of Team USA. We're going to fight through that and tell you...
Stillwater, bro?
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. All of UNT's football team now lives in Oklahoma. Don't love that. I do love Jason Gallagher on the show. That's going to be phenomenal. So stick around for episode 9 of StrongSide. What the hell, man?
Welcome to StrongSide, the show. We are back after taking a little holiday break. We are so happy to see you. I am Mike. He is also Mike. We are here at D Magazine, and of course, the show is made possible by viewers like you, but also subscribers like you. If you enjoy what we're doing here, subscribe to D Magazine, read StrongSide on the internet, subscribe to the newsletter. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm awesome. Circling back on those December emails that no one responded to and are still not responding to in January.
I've ignored 6 of them from you personally.
My favorite American tradition is just not hitting a lick. December second half through first half of January. Respect, but sports has been good to us. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, you know what is not as fun American tradition? The Dallas Cowboys not winning a Super Bowl for 30 years. But we are here. Cowboys finished 9. No, the Cowboys finished 7.
They didn't. That'd be a winning record.
That'd be good. That'd be fun.
That'd be a winning record.
The Cowboys finished 7-9-1. Matt Eberflus was fired super fast. I feel like he was pre-fired the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
They made it official real quick.
Just go play somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what Shoddy told him.
Yeah. So he ain't around anymore. Going over to big offseason. George Pickens a free agent. Dak Prescott turns 33 years old. Jerry's talking a whole bunch of stuff today. I think he referenced Venezuela in the speech. I'm not even making a joke about that. I think he actually did do that. Before we get to what's happening, when you think about this season and what we did for the last 4 months, what are you going to think of with the Cowboys?
So I think whenever I look back on what happened to us this year as Cowboys fans and as an organization, it's the greatest analogy I can probably put on it is stubbing your toe on the way out the door. Like we're all, got a new mindset, got a feel-good coach, and such a shame you let the Micah thing come to a head. And now your defense is compromised, which has lingering effects. And it just starts the season off on a bad vibe.
Yeah.
And your defense never got right, as everyone knows by now, allowing 30 points per game. The moments of play that I will remember that'll stick with me and I'll probably take lessons from as to never let this crap happen again, if at all possible, is Cardinals loss. The bleed out at the end of the Panthers game.
That's number one for me.
And then getting, our britches, getting in them big britches and thinking we can take on the Lions after a 3-game win streak.
Including,
the
Chiefs,
something has
Eagles,
changed and the defense is fixed. Defense has changed midseason, right? They can get fixed. And, no, we're not there yet, man. We're not there to tussle with the Lions in a must-win game for them. And they eventually flamed out, but we flamed out even harder.
Yep.
So
Cowboy way.
Yeah, those are the things that'll stick with me. But the Micah thing was just it painted the entire season. It got Shoddy off on the wrong foot. It got Eberflus playing a defense he wasn't comfortable with.
Right.
It got the team not trusting the scheme, or at least not playing to it, or not wanting to be a part of that scheme. And the Trayvon Diggs thing is just somewhere in the background. Like it's not even top 3 or 4 on regrets for this year. But
that was one big sure, man.
Yeah, inevitable.
Sure.
Was going to happen no matter what.
Sure, okay.
On all timelines, all outcomes.
Yeah.
Trayvon Diggs flames out with the Cowboys.
I think how I'm going to remember this is very much going to be dictated by what happens in the next couple of years. And that's a cop-out, right? But there is a way in which we are looking forward, and we are saying this is the start of something. Jake Kemp wrote for us the other day on Monday about how this team needs to actually go all in, not do the Jerry lip service version of it, really go all in, right? And this piggybacking off of what we've talked about in the show about this is the year Jerry got his gambler mojo back. Okay, well, was that just a fad? And was that just something motivated by the fact that you had a lot of it was motivated by you had to turn public opinion around after you trade Micah? Or are you serious? Because if you're serious, you look, and these Brian Flores rumors for defensive coordinator, they're not just rumors, whether it's Brian Flores or somebody of that caliber. And if you're serious, You're not doing the contract dance with George Pickens that you did with Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and with Dak Prescott. You're getting a deal done in the spring. And if you're serious, you are saying Dak Prescott is 33. He's really good. We can only bank on so much. Let's not just spend our 2 draft picks on something good and call it a day in free agency. Let's go make things happen, right? And so if that's that, if we look back at this year as the rickety start of the Brian Schauner era, but look what it begat. Not even a Super Bowl, but just interesting, competitive, full of effort Cowboys football. Then this year, I'm going to look back on finally and say, well, it was kind of a mess, but at least the mess was leading to something.
Yep.
But if this is just more of the same, and this is just a false dawn, and it's just another half-assed effort to make it look like they care about things more than they care about making profits, then I'm just going to sit here and be like, why do we waste 4 more months of our lives?
Yeah, and if you zoom out, the way you remember teams and eras of teams is by their best players. So you're going to say another year where Dak is playing elite MVP level football, and we didn't even make the playoffs. Didn't really sniff the playoffs.
No.
So that one stings a lot.
Yeah.
So here's my top 3 priorities moving forward this offseason.
Okay.
First one's pretty obvious. Fix the defense. Both those picks, I wouldn't plan on those guys playing on your side of the ball.
If you draft a right tackle named Tyler,
I'm going to lose my mind.
to go with your other first-round lineman named Tyler, we are doing something wrong here, guys. I don't care how good the other Tylers are. Don't do it.
In my brief scouting, I haven't seen a Tyler right tackle.
They'll find one.
They'll go find one. But this is where the scouting kicks in. This is where the pros go to work. But fixing the defense has to be 1, 2, 3, I think, right? Yeah. 12th pick and the 20th pick, right? Yep. And you can do it's a stacked edge class. It's a stacked corner class. There's one safety I think that is a game changer, and he might go too high.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to maybe get a little bit higher pick to get that guy because I think Caleb Downs is that. He is the next Darren Woodson type player.
He's special.
I think you have to get super aggressive and overly correct this defense to the point where it is a tool and a weapon for you. So if that's a corner or an edge player at 12, and then another corner, edge player, linebacker back there at 20, fine. Go for it. Or if that 20th pick needs to be Max Crosby, let's do it. Let's do it. That's what you owe this defense.
Again,
That's what
all
you
in.
owe whoever's
do aggressive things.
Yeah. If it is Brian Flores, right?
Yeah.
You owe that guy those tools to go play with. Number 2 would be the George Pickens thing. Figure out the contract.
Yep.
I do not want to go into next season in a contract standoff with George Pickens. Did you not learn anything?
Did you read that Players Tribune piece?
Good God. Like, you not learn anything from this summer of the Micah situation. We can't do that. We're not going to do it. Don't do it. Figure out the Pickens situation.
Yeah.
3 for me is an idea, but there's a lot of little ideas that go into it of, okay, you got to get your cap right. Quinnen, just do the extension now, please. I don't want that to go into next year with a dead end on that contract. Kenny Clark, extension on Kenny Clark, save you some money on the cap. He's got a really high cap hit. You don't need to be paying Terrence Steele $20 million a year.
No.
Let's figure out what to do there, whether it's a release or trade situation, because he's due 20 over the next 3 years. And then the overarching task that I don't know if they can do, and it'll signal a lot of change if they do, is have a legitimate defensive coordinator search. Yeah. Brian Flores is the S tier of that group, which he might get too many head coach offers.
But there are others.
There are offers. There are others, right? So the guys below that, I would consider Brian Flores the S tier. A, Raheem Morris, Jim Schwartz, Zach Orr. No one's talking about Zach Orr yet. His head coach just got fired. And John Harbaugh up in Baltimore. Yep. Zach Orr is a UNC guy, so I love him to his core. Zach Orr can coach up some defensive football if you give him the tools. Jesse Minter is another guy. That's my second level of guy.
Right? Are we not putting Jeff Ulbrich in there? Jeff Ulbrich could be
not yet.
Borderline.
Not yet.
Okay, all right.
Jim Leonard and Jonathan Gannon and Jeff Ulbrich.
Okay.
I think that's my next level of dudes. There's some other random dudes in there that aren't even available yet, and I'm not going to guess that they're available or their assistants, and I honestly don't know what the hell they do.
Look, the good news is that you can name any of those guys. You can name 20 more guys. The gap in what they had in any of this is enormous, right? I'm raising my hands for those of you listening on audio. It's the gap is the size of a building. Anything they do is better than what it was, but to your point, this is where I think you're going with this, it means something if you don't just say, well, it's better than what we had last year. Mm-hmm. It means something if you say, yeah, anything's better than last year, but we want the best.
Yep.
Because that's what this team did 30 years ago when they won. It was, we are the standard. We act like we are superior. We go and do things that are big and bold.
Yep.
You could get a number of guys and make a defense competent. And you could sit there, and if you pay George Pickens, they could sit there at Valley Ranch. Not Valley Ranch, sorry. They could do this in Oxnard.
They're still in Valley Ranch in many ways.
Metaphorically. Yeah, right. You could do the Oxnard presser, and you could sell people on the defense will be fine and the offense will be special and we could win. And you're not necessarily wrong. Mm-hmm. But go try to make it a weapon, because even if you don't hit that ceiling, if you just fall a little bit short, if that's the aim, you will have a damn good football team.
Yeah, and if things don't go right next year for Brian Schottenheimer, the seat starts getting warm.
I mean, I don't know. Should it? Yes, but this is a team that's let every single previous coach of the last 3 play out their contracts.
That's true, but I think there was also a reason why Eberflus was here. It's because they weren't sure if Schotty could do the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's head coach. So you want to bring in another head coach as a DC, that's fine. The point I'm driving towards in that is Brian Schottenheimer needs to have the largest say in who the next DC is.
Yes, absolutely.
It needs to be his pick. And maybe this expedited timeline of letting Eberflus go right when player interviews ended, not when the rest of the stuff ends, right? They had the rest of this week to do this. But they got done with player interviews, and I'm sure they got out of there, and every one of them said, I wasn't coached up to my ability, and then scheme didn't fit my skills. And they go, okay. Pretty obvious what we need to do.
And to their credit, they did it fast.
They did
because it would be a very Cowboy thing to let this linger for another week.
Yeah, and it maybe makes me think that they have a target that they don't want to let go into
other
plan? Rooms.
There's a plan here?
Maybe, God forbid, there's a plan. Or they don't want to let somebody else go to another campus and visit another school and gets DeAndre Jordan out of their decision. You know what I mean?
That's what we call foreshadowing for Jason Gallagher. Stay tuned.
Pro move. So the bottom of this ranking to me is literally anybody who is friendly with the organization.
Who has blitzed one time in a game.
I can't have a Mike Zimmer. I can't have a Wade Phillips. I can't have a dude over there that's friends with the Jones family that has coached here before. Can't do it.
No.
Absolutely can't do it. You got to have somebody in here that's willing to make some changes, isn't scared of the repercussions, and is coaching for their job and a potential head coaching job, which would be a Brian Flores, which would be a guy like Raheem Morris that just got off a head coaching seat, Jim Schwartz, Jonathan Gannon, just got done with that, right? Yep. All perfectly fine names. There are so many out there.
Yeah.
Just do one. Just do one. You just got to pick one, okay? Brian Flores would be the, chef's kiss, S tier higher. That guy might get too many head coaching looks. Quite honestly,
I don't think they can get him. Not even if they tried, because I could see him getting a head coaching job.
Yeah, and then it doesn't matter if you request it.
Right, but just in that ilk, in that stratosphere, or at least knocking on that door.
Yeah, my note says the last level down here on D on the tiers is anybody that has coached for the Cowboys before or is friendly with the family. Mm-hmm. So the number 3/3A, 3B priority on this list is get a defensive coordinator that can Gata. You know what Gata means?
No.
Get after their ass.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's what Gata means.
Yep.
Okay, someone that can make a difference with the talent that's going to be put in front of them, because you're going to have 2 first-round picks on the defensive side on a group that is at least kind of balanced out a little bit. A lot of blue-chip names on there. So then this person is going to be launched into head coaching talks. That's what's going to happen.
And they need to be comfortable with that, right? You need to be comfortable with the idea of you could be a stepping stone. And that's okay, because that means that this person did their job.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do your job so well, someone wants to do the job, wants to hire you.
Because I got news for you.
Above you.
If you have a defensive coordinator here who is in head coaching interviews next year and is a serious head coaching candidate, and you pay George Pickens, you know what that means? That means that this team will be in a conference finals game for the first time in 30 years. Because that means that the defense was incredible, and we know that this offense will be incredible again if they pay George Pickens, and that's an elite football team right there.
Yeah.
So embrace that reality. It's okay. You could do bold, big things. You could figure out plans after the big, bold things have to beget more big, bold things. I know it's hard. I know we've forgotten this, but it's a thing that can happen here. It used to happen here. You won when it happened here. We should talk about something else. I'm already getting angry.
Number 1, fix the defense. 2, Pickens. 3, extensions. Figure out your cap.
Yep.
4 would be, obviously, get a defense coordinator that can Gata. Let's do that. Team that has somehow a longer road back to relevancy on the national stage. At this moment, at time of recording, Anthony Davis has not been traded. Chris Haynes said it's going to happen today. That was the biggest update, which is, I don't know where.
This is after 2 days ago. He wants an extension
This gets so
here.
muddy, dude, because Rich Paul is involved.
Yeah.
Because every other source is talking to other people. But the latest thing is that Chris Haynes says Anthony Davis is going to be traded.
Yes.
The targets, well, it was Bulls early on. They were interested, right? And that kind of seems like it's faded. Raptors, for some reason, are in the periphery constantly.
Hawks, you hear about.
Hawks, and more specifically, Zaccharie Risacher, the former first overall pick, which, damn, that was a bad year.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
From last year. Hawks seem interested and are dangling that out there. Warriors seem interested, and what I've heard some is that we were more initiating the Warriors thing, but Kuminga's dangled out there.
Right.
Are either of those enough, or what's your mindset?
Yeah.
Walking into the room of how to deal Anthony Davis.
Right. So I'm gonna speak to everybody. This is for all of us. This is how we all need to approach this. I want you to take in your head Anthony Davis's entire resume. The idea of Anthony Davis, future Hall of Fame big man, top 75 player of all time, still fairly young at 33 years old, still putting up a lot of good games. Imagine that guy. I want you to think about what that guy in your brain should be traded for. I want you to lower it 20%. then, I want you to lower that 20%.
Okay.
And then, when we're there, lower what you just lowered 15 more percent. That is what we are dealing with here, guys, okay? Because this is somebody who can't stay on the floor, who's due a lot of money, who is already breaking down, and whose game might break down further as he ages, because that's what happened to big men. Guy needs to play center, doesn't want to play center a lot.
Yep.
Guy who makes a lot of money, and therefore you got to find ways to break it into multiple pieces, and the Mavericks are not going to want to take on money on the way back. Yep. Unless it's something really exciting, they are going to want clean books out of this so they can try to sign some dudes. So what does that mean? It means that when I hear a Zaccharie Risacher, when I hear a Jonathan Kuminga, I think they're on the right track, which is to say, ideally, what do I want? I want clean books. I would like an interesting prospect, and I would like a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
You can lighten the protections on this. This isn't going to be I've seen people saying, oh, what if we get an early pick this year in a really good draft? That's not going to be what it is.
What if we get that Pelicans pick, man?
Yeah, everybody wants the Pelicans pick. I want the Pelicans pick. You want the Pelicans pick. Jeff Skinwade wants the Pelicans pick. They're not getting the Pelicans pick. You need to have the mindset of this is a sunk cost, and if I can get something back, and we'll say a Zaccharie Risacher, right? That's a guy who he's not in the Cooper Flagg class of first overall pick. What you were hoping he is not in the Andrea Bargnani class of first round pick. You want him to be Andrew Wiggins, which is to say the guy who will not live up to what he was hyped up to be, but with some time and some polishing and some understanding of the environment, becomes a guy who could be a really good role player on a really good team and who could be here when Cooper Flagg is wrecking shop in 2-3 years. If you can get a piece like that and you get a pick for a player who does not fit the timeline, given the circumstances, that's fine. So, in Sam Amick and Christian Clark's piece today over at The Athletic, apparently Hawk sources are pushing hard back on Risacher being available. Do I believe that? No, I don't. I think it's the time of year where you're not going to kill a dude who you drafted number 1 overall a year ago. You're not going to kill his standing and kill his confidence by letting these rumors get too far out there if he doesn't get moved, right? You can't say that he's out there. A Warriors deal doesn't really even work cap-wise unless they trade Jimmy Butler or Draymond. They're not going to do that. But that kind of archetype, ideally it is that player archetype of a wing who is long and athletic, because I'm not on the bandwagon that some people are starting to get on of, is PJ Washington good fit with Cooper Flagg? I'm not willing to say he's not, but PJ's more sought off. PJ's more power. If you have a longer, lankier athlete who gets some threes and could play some defense for you, that complements what Cooper Flagg does. But really, any type of piece that you could sit here and say there is ceiling and he fits what Cooper can be doing in several years and is intriguing, it's not going to be the finished product. You can't get that with Anthony Davis right now. But prospect, first-round pick of some kind, no bad money, that's the ballpark right there.
That final spit out of Luka traded for Anthony Davis, traded for cap relief.
Oh, it's gonna be a sledgehammer to the ribs, man.
The 13th overall pick, and Zaccharie Risacher, like, that's gonna hurt. So
yeah, and you just everybody has to accept that that's gonna be happening.
Yeah,
the final accounting is brutal, and that's why the dude who made the trade doesn't work here anymore, and might not work in this sport ever again.
Yeah,
but we got to move past that. It's got to be, what can you get and how can that help you? And a prospect, a pick, no bad cash will help you.
Yeah, I think I'd lean Risacher. Number one, because it gets really tricky with the Warriors deal, right?
I think the Amic's piece ended with some quote, and the quote was to the effect of, every team in the East thinks they are one Anthony Davis away from getting to the finals. So leverage that.
Yeah.
Make all the calls. Like, because in the reporting today, it's a lot of conflicting stuff. Chris Haynes is saying he's going. The Athletic guys were saying they're not sure. Mm-hmm. They need to work the phones and create some kind of bidding frenzy.
Yeah.
And find a desperate team who's a little more desperate than the two other Eastern Conference teams in the middle of the pack. Because there's just because Anthony Davis isn't what he was, doesn't mean that desperate teams at the deadline when other names aren't out there won't get a little hot and bothered at the only thing that's attractive at the table.
Yeah, it's classic. Hey, well, they're offering Risacher a first and cap relief. Are you going to give me a second first with heavy protections on it? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let me call them back and see. You know, it's the scene from Moneyball.
yeah, exactly.
That's what's going to happen here. And it's going to feel weird whenever it happens, but this is the best thing you can do for your franchise at this exact moment.
Yep.
And whoever the next GM is, it's going to be a sought-after position. People are going to want to be here and be the GM attached to Cooper Flagg for the rest of his career, right? You owe them clean books. The extension idea for Anthony Davis that was laughable to me. That seemed like it was coming directly from whoever's in the pocket of Rich Paul. I said Chris Paul. Maybe the same.
It's World Wide West.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was funny. It was funny when that came out the other day. I was like, what?
No,
I was like, extended past February?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about here? And so I lean more towards Risacher because he is younger. There is more raw potential there. Kuminga seems like he's gotten really bored besides just fighting with people.
It is ironic that name and that team is brought up in this because they are the ultimate example and he is the ultimate player attached with the we could do two timelines thing, and it never works. And Anthony Davis, and the idea, you hear these murmurings on the Dallas side of, what if we have the two timelines thing? Well, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's a little bit Spider-Man meme with each other. Like, what if we just kept going? Then we'll just be here again. Exactly. That sucks.
Exactly.
So he's going to get dealt. I've said this for a long time. They've come to their senses. They, had a moment of clarity and decided that Nico needs to go to start the healing, and then also that the next Mavericks playoff team or the next good Mavericks basketball team isn't going to have Anthony Davis on it. Like, that's just not realistic.
Nope.
Because of the timeline. Not that he's a bad player.
Right.
He can change your franchise every Eastern Conference team.
Yeah.
You need it.
You need it. One Anthony Davis away from a ring.
You got to have it, kids.
Here's a bummer. So the Olympics are coming out next month. I say this like it's a Netflix show or something. But the Olympics are coming. There's going to be a lot of sports. Hockey's one of those sports. And, who's not going on Team USA is the best American goal scorer, the dude with the most points by an American in the NHL this season, Jason Robertson. Not on the Olympic roster because apparently they don't like fun or winning or things. Mike, what's going on, man? What is this?
Yeah, so number one, I feel extremely bad for Jason Robertson.
Yeah, this sucks.
I think as a hockey player, more than any other sport, I think, in the entire world, maybe basketball because it is so global, playing for your country in hockey in the Olympics is incredibly meaningful.
Yeah.
Especially now that the USA's actually can hold their own.
Right.
And, everyone's already fast forwarding to USA versus Canada in this thing. And maybe that's part of the failure of the building is planning for the finals whenever I got to play a bunch of games before that. It's a failure of imagination. And quite frankly, kind of a conservative loser's mindset to not have Jason Robertson on this team.
Yes.
As opposed to some older vet role players, guys you're more comfortable with, guys that Bill Guerin feels like might match the way he played back in the day or something like that. And I've listened to everything. I've read everything. I can't find what's wrong with Robo.
No, not only that, Robert Tiffin, who we've seen on the show before, who writes for us over at D Magazine, he wrote back in December, he saw this coming, and he was like, the winds are blowing to where he's going to get left off, and it makes no sense. And he laid out every single reason why it's a load of crap. You should read this story.
Yeah.
Because the idea, too, the way Team USA painted this was that he's just a scoring winger, which if he's your best scoring winger, he should go.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah.
He's had a really interesting evolution of his game the last several years. And he's a very good two-way winger. This is a dude who does his job on the defensive end. This is not a guy who's just going to stay up and by the net and not work.
Yeah.
And so it just felt very much like the criticisms weren't even in good faith a lot of the time.
Yeah, and it's they're not going to criticize a player they didn't pick, and because he might be added eventually. There's some guys on the list that haven't played this year, and might not be ready by that time. And also, I think the name to pinpoint on there is JT Miller. I think that guy's hurt, and he's a New York Ranger, right? So it seems like the coach picking his own guy.
There was a lot of that.
You made Team USA, buddy. Look at you. Actually, you're not playing at all. I'm going to get Robo out here. But it's got to suck for him, and there's a big thing in hockey about when these guys get snubbed or they make it, their play turns around and they look a little pissed off for a week or two in there. And there is a lot of guys that are going to get called up, quite frankly. So you might look back at this and it might not make any sense whenever you're looking at it 5 years from now and be like, oh, Jason Robertson actually scored the game-winning goal in the Team USA gold medal game. What were y'all talking about? He wasn't on the team. But the immediate selection is short-sighted. And if you just want to copy and paste the roster from the Four Nations tournament, I guess you have every right to do that. But with all due respect, it's a problem in the evaluation of how you're building the team. And I've seen reasons and I've seen rationale tied to it of they want more two-way players, more third-line wings that can play both ways. And what team is Jason Robertson a third-line wing? He's on the top two lines, dude. Let's be real. That's what we think of him, and that's what he's proven to be.
Yeah.
Right? So let's not play that and say he's not gritty enough. He doesn't have that. It's just we've got a lot of good players, and you pick some of your favorites, and you pick some of your guys from the Four Nations that played with you last year or the year before, whatever that was. That's cool. That's cool. You left our guy off. He's not a dyed in the wool. His last name isn't Kachuk. So he's not going to be on a Team USA for the rest of his life. Just stamped in there. That's cool, man. That's fine. We'll go win the Stanley Cup with this dude. He's that good, and he's having the best season of his career, and it's so much pride for a dude to play for your country and Team USA in the Olympic hockey circuit right now, and I feel bad for him. And it sucks that we're having to talk about, well, what could possibly be wrong with him?
It's not about him.
There's nothing wrong with him.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with him besides their failure of imagination of how to build a team.
Yeah.
So sorry, Robo. You're badass. Can't do anything about it, man. Be ready. Stay ready. That's all I can say about it.
Hey, Mike Marshall, is there another team that we're going to talk about that does have much imagination for how to find new players?
Yeah. Maybe the Oklahoma State Cowboys might look pretty familiar next season because if you haven't noticed, everyone, our number one feel-good story of the year, your North Texas Mean Green, that whole thing turned kind of sour pretty quick, didn't it? Because the fun was had, and then Denton, Texas moved north. You might not have noticed it, but the city limits just relocated up to Stillwater, Oklahoma. In the teens now, the number of players that have been bought by Oklahoma State that were formerly North Texas Mean Green, that's besides an entire coaching staff.
And front office and all that.
Front office and a GM, all of it, dude. My entire the school I went to, the team that I root for, they are Oklahoma State Cowboys.
You be wearing orange next week?
No, dog. We ain't doing that. I hate that. That color of orange is
it's very in your face. It's like highlighter orange.
It's hunting orange is what it is. It's deer blind orange. I'm extremely happy for the players that they're getting their money. I'm extremely happy for the coaches. You should be paid the highest that you can possibly get in your market. I'm a full believer in that. Call me a capitalist. I don't care. Get what you're worth. Get your money. Get the bag. Going to Oklahoma State does feel kind of weird because it's Oklahoma State. I do wish them well going forward. I appreciate what they did this season in putting North Texas back on the map. I hope it leads to a decent team for us whenever we eventually start getting players again and they stop exiting. I don't think this could possibly be what anybody had in mind for the transfer portal for NIL for a team that isn't, they're a Big 12 team. Yeah, they have a lot of money. Yeah, they probably have some great alumni, and they have more history than North Texas. But to be able to just copy and paste and steal an entire football program,
to be clear,
I'd be damned.
Right. So it is 14 players, and it's the names you've heard of. It's Drew Mestemaker. It's Caleb Hawkins. It's Wyatt Young.
Yep.
It's the protagonists of this UNT team.
Leading receiver, leading rusher, leading passer, leading tackler. guys that didn't even play last year.
Just brought them up there. Right. It's everybody relevant.
Guys.
It's everybody relevant.
Yeah, they're stealing our long snappers.
Look, all of this is just another byproduct of we are in a transition period in college sports where it's going to end up with collective bargaining, but we're not there yet. And until we get there, you're going to have a lot of weird stuff, right? Baylor just added. Did you see the story with James Najee? Baylor added. James Najee was the 31st overall pick in the NBA draft in 23. Never played in the NBA. He was an overseas stash. He's playing at Baylor now because the NCAA let him come in mid-year. A guy who was drafted into the NBA, come play college ball mid-year. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what are we doing here? And what are we doing allowing 14 guys to go to the same place? It's the fact that there's no regulation and there are no rules. And we could sit here and two things can be true at once. You know, I don't even think it's about the money aspect for me. I think most people, if there were guardrails on transferring and how it's done and when it's done, I don't think most people would really care at this point if the guys are paid. But college sports works only to the degree that you buy the sentiment involved, right? It's your school. It's my school. It's the idea, however romantic and silly and far-fetched, but like that this guy lived in my dorm or he, drank at this bar by my campus or, he threw up the claw or he threw up the fight on, any of that stuff. It goes as far as we believe that because once you stop believing that and once you strip it away, it's just a minor league product. And this isn't healthy for anybody. It isn't healthy that you, not even just a UNT fan who said, I'll lose my, it's one thing if you were bracing yourself for no Drew Mestamaker, no Caleb Puckett. You're not bracing yourself for, they're all going to one place.
To be clear, I knew Drew was going to get a bag. I knew Caleb was going to get a bag.
Right.
Probably Wyatt.
But like getting uprooted and replanted like a tree.
Not the entire offensive line.
No, and so it shouldn't be this way. I suppose the interesting case study as somebody who is an agnostic with these particular players, I am interested in the thought of what will a really good AAC team do in a power conference? Because that is what this is.
That's the test.
This is purely saying that we think our roster could do damage in the Big 12 if we had that roster in the Big 12. Okay, well, let's find out.
Yeah.
That's cool and that's interesting, but that weird Frankensteinish thought experiment should not be happening in this way. Yeah. And it just is kind of a symptom of like, it feels like, and I'm hoping that in 5-10 years we look back and we're like, man, remember all these wild things that happened? Because that means that it got reined in.
Yeah.
Because all of this needs to get reined the hell in. Yeah. And right now you have things like this, or you have things like, the acid test of LSU taking Washington's quarterback after Washington's quarterback signed a new deal at Washington. Yeah. Like if that is allowed to stand, then nothing anybody signs means anything.
Yeah.
So then what are even the very loose guardrails we have now will mean nothing. And then what is any of this anymore? Like there's all kinds of ways to extrapolate a lot of stuff that gets really weird and really ugly. And yeah, you could sit here and if you really want to go to the extreme and say athlete and labor empowerment, and to be clear, I'm a very pro-labor dude, but like it can't come at the expense of the entire enterprise that this is propping up.
Yeah, I think multi-year commitments is a minimum.
Multi-year commitments.
It has to be, man.
Multi-year commitments. You want one free transfer, fine. Then you sit out.
Yeah, or just add in buyouts as well, like they do for coaches. If they're following the coaching guideline, which this coach leaves, now you are open to transfer, in a lot of cases immediately. Cool. What's the buyout for the player? What's Oklahoma State going to pay me for taking my quarterback that I found as a walk-on who was a backup at Vandergrift? Like, what? They didn't earn that.
Right.
They just looked at leading passing per yards per game. Like,
yeah,
that's all that happened. And I'm not judging Eric Morris because his life is on the line. His coaching life is on the line, whether he succeeds at Oklahoma State or not. The betterment of his family is on the line, depending on what happens to Oklahoma State moving forward. I'm just going to tell you, some coaches aren't doing it that way. The Tulane coach went to Florida.
Said, I'm not taking anybody.
He said, no. Not that I don't like you guys. Love you. I'm over here now. I'm not going to harm that program.
Yeah.
They need you too much. You committed to Tulane University.
Right.
You stay at Tulane. In fact, I'm going to give them some money to help you stay there. Outside of the buyout, on top of the buyout. And for a school like North Texas, like, how do you ever get to compete if someone can come over and not just take your football, but take your field and take your pants and take the goalposts and take everything?
No.
Like, I don't know how you ever get there, man. This is an awful experience. Like, quite honestly, and I don't think anybody meant it to be this way.
No, I don't think so. I think the floodgates opened, and I don't think anybody, shocker for a sport that has no real governing body, like people thought, oh, cool, athlete empowerment, and people transfer. They didn't think about the downwind effects of all of this.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to some of them, and there could be more on the horizon, which is why the sooner this gets sorted out, the better. Because this can't go on like it's going on.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. There's going to be some kind of collective bargaining. There's going to be multi-year commitments. There's going to be some level of buyout. They'll fix it eventually. But I hate being like the, when Kevin Durant signed with the Warriors because that weird non-smoothing year.
Right.
Like, I hate being the example of like why the thing needs a new rule. You know what I mean?
Welcome to my feelings with USC and the NCAA when we were the last school punished for anything.
Yeah.
I know.
After this, do whatever you want,
After
boys.
this, y'all could have somebody killed in your campus. We're not going to do anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to do a damn thing about it.
Yeah.
Well, screw me. My football team's gone. They live up that way now. But maybe one of our friends can go watch him every once in a while.
Yeah.
He lives in Oklahoma.
He'll go.
He'll go. Let me know how it feels to have my football team. Jason Gallagher, the man that made viral the Indecision, the DeAndre Jordan episode, is joining us. Good friend of the show and one of my best buds in the world. Very excited to talk to Jason about that and so much more. So please stick around for the interview with Jason Gallagher next on StrongSide. Welcome back to StrongSide, episode 9, and you might notice a little guest over here, that guy. So some people in this industry you just you get to work with. Some people you're lucky enough to call friends. Sometimes you make lifelong friends, and they are more talented than you and do really fun shit all the time. That is Jason Gallagher. Holy crap, man. Thanks for jumping on the show.
I'm honored, truly, truly honored to be here. This is such an amazing, interesting setup here with me behind y'all. I feel like can y'all see me? I don't even know.
Yeah, we're looking. You're over here too. You're on.
Yeah,
we're on
these,
the 3 box, but you're right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
You're there and there. So yeah, the magic of technology of Zoom. Shout out Zoom. Glad you could hop on remotely and number one to promote stuff, but also just to talk some Mavs. So congratulations, number one, on another first of your career. Viral, the Indecision. I know it's a series, which let's just clarify that off the top if we can.
Yeah.
How many are we doing here? What's future plans?
I don't really know. To be perfectly honest, we're sort of in the we are working on others. The way they're sort of treating it is a little bit more like 30 for 30, not in the prestige department, but more on the just cadence.
Gotcha.
We will release them as they are finished. So
not the same budget as what you're saying as a 30 for 30.
It's twice as much.
Twice as much. Yeah. I deserve twice as much, and you will learn next to nothing by watching the viral series.
Well, dude, they were very lucky to get you on board, and congratulations. I'm so happy for you, man. It's very cool.
Thanks,
that's
brother.
right.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was really fun to work on. I sort of working in this podcast game with like very, very serious people. It was nice to like put something out that was just so silly. So it gave me a lot of joy to put that out in the world.
Well, I think the best compliment, having known you as internet friends and certainly like followed your different stops over the years, is just like it felt very you. Like it was very like you could have done this straight and it would have been way more dry, but like we have the memes, we have the B-roll, we have the rando fan who comes in and somehow is more unhinged in his explanation 10 years later than the thing he did back at the time.
Rehab doesn't work.
No, but I'm watching like this is very Jason, and that's hard to do, man. So like seriously, props to you for that.
Yeah, it's probably the thing that I'm most happy about, to be honest, is getting that kind of compliment. So thank you. Like just the people recognize that it was, that it has its sort of lightness, its silliness. It never takes itself too seriously. The one bit that story that I like really love from the indecision process was I worked with like a lot of prestigious people. Like our editor has won a lot of awards and stuff like that, and he's a very serious guy. And he lives in New Jersey, and we had never really met face to face, but I read his IMDb and I'm like, gotta get that guy. And so I deferred a lot basically, which is because I'm from the slums of the internet, and all these people are, they work in film and TV. And so I super deferred, and I turned in the first draft, and the guy at Amazon called me, and he was like, we need to have an emergency conversation. I was like, what? He was like, I could have hired anyone to make this. I need your dumb mind. Like, I need you to like
That's
be
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Which was like an amazing thing. And, nobody could have watched it, and I still would have celebrated the thing, because I think it's just really rare to be able to make something and make it yours in 2026. I think it's like it's a very difficult thing to do.
That's how you know you're working with the right people, that he's going out of his way to be like, no, like do all the weird stuff in your brain. Like, I'm going to be angry if you do this like a normal person.
Yeah, it was quite the compliment. So I'm glad I got to. I'm glad that I got to hire a British narrator. Shout out Glenn McCreary.
That's a very British name.
Yeah, he's old, and he does like mostly Shakespeare stuff. Found him on Voices 1, 2, 3, and I wish I could just release his live, just be like DeAndre Jordan, and I was just like, this is so great.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're talking about DeAndre Jordan and the near miss of him coming to the Mavericks. We'll get to the actual DeAndre Jordan Mavericks thing later. But this all starts off like, it's funny to laugh about now. 10 years ago, if you were us or you're from here, not very funny. So where do you remember being as a Mavs fan on the internet 10 years ago when this is going down and you were hearing, oh, of course my team, the one time they get a big free agent is the one time that big free agent's like, I'm not doing this anymore?
Yeah, I know exactly where I was. I was in downtown Chicago. I was working for an asset management company called Logistics. There were three of us in the office, in our little office, and this thing's going down. And I had two coworkers. I had my boss, Michael Parmenter, who is from New Zealand, who did not know a lick about the NBA and definitely didn't care, and definitely didn't love that I was like on Twitter. And then I had Billy was just like, just a proud pistol. She always had pistol on her. Like, she was like, oh, I think she wished she was a cop, but she wasn't. Anyways. So I remember, because Michael was like, you need to get off of Twitter. And I was like, definitely, for sure. And
got you, dog.
I did it. And then I didn't. And Billy ratted me out. Like, later in the day, she was like, he's still on Twitter. I know. This is what I'm saying.
Sounds like a cop. Yeah.
Yeah. A cop. But anyway, so that's exactly where I was. I remember being so mad. And, you start getting mad at everything. And why is this our team building philosophy? What are we, God? And, it was a frustrating thing. Definitely was mad at DeAndre. No question about it. I was like, what a coward. But, hearing the story behind the scenes and stuff like that, it was cool. And like, he's a human. He's in his 20s. I did way dumber stuff when I was in my 20s, so it's all fine.
The only critique I will give you on the piece is that halfway through I'm like, man, I want to see Jason interview Jason about this, because I want to hear it. Like, I want to see you talk about it. You know what I mean? And I wish you would have just done a full on. You know what? I'm directing and starring in the movie here for a minute, and just jumped in front of the thing.
We actually thought about it from a first person POV, but it was like, that's a really hard thing to replicate, I think, because so I thought this route was better. But that was a crazy time, and in hindsight, it's really funny to laugh at how mad we got. You know what I mean? Oh, it is really funny.
Yeah, looking back, for sure. At the time, I mean, it brought back so many feelings of the angst, what you mentioned a minute ago, which is like the damn you for putting me in this position, Mark Cuban, with this team building. Like, why are we here? Like, why are we doing this? Why does this even matter? So I don't know if I would have had like the guts to dive back in there, because it was an embarrassing time on the internet. It just was. You saw Captain Jackass, right?
It sure was. And I what's funny is, and I still think we kind of all feel this. You could see it trickle all the way through Luka trade, everything like that. Like there's just a protection that Dallas fans have for Dirk, his legacy, and things like that. And after the championship, it was just one of those things where every year felt like 10 years. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh my gosh, we don't have much more time left.
Yeah, you can tap the clock on the wall and go like, Dirk is this much closer to not being here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and so in some ways I understand the free agency approach, in the sense that it's hard to do like a rebuild, but then you did build a championship team. You didn't have to break that up. So there's the number of things that I think added to the angst of the Dallas Maverick fan at the time.
And one of the trade-offs of, I think, doing the Parsons deal was that he was this recruiter, and to like really recoup the worth of signing him for like such a long, humongous contract, which he was a really good player at that time. But part of it was he's going to be able to get other guys here that want to play with him, and Dirk and, whoever else you want to bring in that was the, that summer guy, because it rotated every year. But that was part of bringing in Parsons, because he could get guys like this.
Yeah, I think, look, I know I've talked about it on other podcasts, but I do think that it's like, it's one of the more fascinating things about Mark Cuban's sort of like team building philosophy, which is like, I think it's why he got Nico in the door. I think it's why he got Chandler in the door. I think it's like, there's definitely, I don't even mean this as like a shot, but there's just like definitely a complex of like, I want to build it this way. And if you do build it that way, then there's a level of credit I think you would directly get if you did it that way. And
it's like a cousin of the Jerry Jones Cowboys hirings, where it's just like, why do you hire Brian Schottenheimer? Because if it somehow works, everybody has to credit Jerry Jones.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, I definitely think maybe that's a part, maybe, I've never actually spoken to him about it, but it is sort of funny how many decisions that were made, from 2012 to 2022 that were just simply based on like, gosh, I hope we can get a big free agent in here.
Yeah. It felt very, I mean, I don't even know if I feel it's that so much as just the idea of like, it's Shark Tank brain of like, everything's built on deals. And if I'm going to get guys who can make deals, and it's like, you could just get good players. We could just try that. But it's no, we're going to get deals. We're going to make deals. This also begs the question that I've never thought about this before. Because Chandler Parsons was a good player, but like every other player you hear about is, oh, this guy will get somebody to play with him. It's like a max contract dude. Is Chandler Parsons the worst NBA player? Again, good NBA player, but the worst NBA player to be assigned gravitas of this guy can get people in the door to play with us?
Ooh, that's a great. I mean, there's got to be guys we don't know about who are just like, in the mix that guys
got to play with
love.
Shane Battier.
Yeah. There's got to be something like
Mario
that.
Chalmers. I feel like there's some guards back in the day that like were just tight with everybody, but they just like weren't that good. But they would literally like change people's minds. They were just the smartest dude in the room that was just a normal person.
Yeah,
not like an Adonis athlete. They're just like, yeah, bro, we're going over here this year.
And I try not to. Chandler wound up being what he was, but the injury stuff was a bummer, so I can't kill him too hard.
Yeah. So you got some of the homies in the show, Kirk Henderson, Tim Cato. Some notable people weren't in it. Who was high on your wish list that you didn't end up landing?
Oh boy, probably. I mean, Cuban is probably we had sort of had an agreement to him to be on, because JJ at the time, I mean, he is an executive producer on it, but he was like actively recruiting people to be in it. Mark had agreed, and then Mark had sort of backed out, which is sort of ironic given what the story's about. But I really wanted Chris Broussard in it. Badly. I was just like, man, that guy just let it fly. Yeah. He just said whatever he wanted. Yeah. And there's no way any of it was true. Like, there's just no, even at the time, I was like, you're telling me Mark Cuban doesn't know where DeAndre Jordan lives? Yeah. You're telling me, so that would have been, that one would have been the most fun, which is probably why he was high on the list. And look, with stories like this, like for me, I kind of come from the Bill Simmons like rule of don't waste people's time. So I wanted it to be under 30 minutes like the whole time. But there's so many different rabbit holes you could have gone down. And depending on who we got, we probably could have gone that direction. Like Chris Paul actually was a huge piece of the story that isn't mentioned a lot in the documentary. But he's not in it, and it felt a little unfair to just have a bunch of people be like, Chris Paul is a jerk, and not have him in it to sort of talk about it. And so it just like that was a rabbit hole not worth going down. But if he had been in it, I probably would have explored this idea of like, hey, you're a pretty contentious guy. Guys love playing with you, but then there was a certain subset of guys that rubs the wrong way. That would have been like a fascinating thing. Those are probably, Mark, Chris Broussard, Chris Paul. Those are the people that I probably would have wanted to have in it. I mean, Dirk, I feel like I would have loved to have him in it, but I think he'd have been like, yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, Dirk's only comment is just one long, protracted, God damn it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
who is your favorite person to interview, and who did you sit down with and you're like, okay, there's 27 minutes of usable stuff here, but I'm using 3 of this thing I got with whoever it was.
God. Honestly, interviewing JJ was really fun because he messed with me a lot. I actually have a supercut that I made that I might drop if they go on a win streak because he doesn't want me to drop that if they're losing. But if they go on a win streak, I might drop it. He just messed with me so much. Every question, it was a sarcastic answer, followed by a laugh, followed by the real answer. So that was like just generally pretty fun. I thought, honestly, Kirk Serious Face, shout out.
Kirk Henderson.
He just was able to embody he can really get back into the angry space really quickly. I'm actually a little worried about him because he was able to get mad about it. He was like mad. He was like,
I know, it's great. It was so Kirk. Yeah, it was awesome.
Like, relax, Kirk. But it was perfect. I loved having him in it. But then there are people that are just like good at documentaries. Like Bomani Jones is amazing at sound bites. And even afterwards, he was like, I wish there was a way I could make money just doing this because I'm really good at doing this. And he is. Like, he could have narrated this entire thing and it would have been like perfect. Yeah. Other highlights. Stephen A was actually kind of a highlight because we interviewed him at the First Take offices at like 7:45 in the morning. He comes in real low energy and is like, I barely remember any of this. And I was like, okay. And then I start asking him, and he remembers literally everything. So that it was pretty impressive. And then the last person I shout out is Blake Griffin, because I think I was expecting him to be funny. I'd like seen him do stand up before, and like I was just expecting him to be like hilarious. And he actually was like way, way, way more heartfelt and kind of wound up delivering some of the more heartfelt moments, which is just essentially that, like, in a locker room, it's like hard for dudes to just tell somebody that you care about them. And that's essentially what the DeAndre situation was about, was that DeAndre wanted to feel loved. The Clippers were like, hey man, do you? And it was this weird tension that kind of came to a head. And unfortunately the Mavs were, I had to eat the shit. So can I say shit?
Yeah,
absolutely.
DeAndre Jordan did become a Dallas Maverick several years later. And that's the one part of the documentary that I was waiting for, and it didn't get there. So I'm going to ask you now, did you guys ask him about this? Because you're leaving off at a place where you dropped the great soundbite of him getting into the car, and they're asking him, TMZ's like, so have you talked to Mark Cuban? He's like, go Clippers. Well, at some point, him and Cuban had to have some bearing of the hatchet because he wound up here. So what conversation, if any, was had about the fact that, like, yeah, you wound up there, and how did this, obviously it's business, but how did you get to be a point where you became a Maverick way later after this was way less of a story?
No, we did. I asked a few people about it, and he, it was in a couple different drafts, and I think it was one of those things where once you start explaining it, you have to spend a decent amount of time on it, and it's hard to sort of just gloss over it. And there's the element of, the one piece of it that I was trying to stay really protective of, and I gave Mark my word that I would, and I kept to it, which was that, his agent was a huge part of it. His agent obviously passed away, and so it was just more about like I don't want to sort of get into that part of it, and that kind of had something to do with it. So I just did. Ultimately, it was like if I can't really like talk about it, then I don't really want to talk about it. But it was funny. I asked JJ, I was like, "Is it funny that you and DeAndre became Mav greats?" And he laughed. And my favorite thing is he goes, MFFL, Mad for fucking life. And I was like, that's not what that stands for. He goes, wait, it's not Mad for fucking life? And I was like, no.
Can you tell that he was here for about 10 games and played like one game in this uniform? Yeah.
He played like one game.
Yeah.
Like,
He's hurt.
I remember, yeah, he was hurt. He was angry.
Yeah.
He wasn't angry at like the Mavs or Cuban or
Right.
He was actually like Rick Carlisle he has like amazing stories about Rick Carlisle.
Oh,
and,
man.
he like loved, in hindsight, I think loved, but in the moment he was like so pissed. And that was where I met him for the first time. He was playing for the Mavs. And I came to like a game and then went to his apartment afterwards, and it looked like Tim Cato's apartment. Like it looked like
in shambles, down bad.
But it just looked like a dude's apartment. Like it was just like not big, not nice. There were like beer bottles.
Yeah, a bunch of like Sylvan Esso records, whatever that weirdo listens to.
Yeah, he couldn't move. It was tough times.
Yeah, the JJ Redick Hardwood Classic green Mavs jersey though, that one fucking rips, dude.
That'll go for something on eBay. Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny that he played for the Mavs.
Yeah, the thing I think I had completely just like memory hold out of the entire thing was, and maybe it's because I was pissed when this was flying by the Twitter feed, was the Paul Pierce experience.
Yeah. Oh my God. I forgot about the clip art.
I forgot that Paul Pierce was a part of it, number one, and then that he was like the punchline, but also the guy that like broke the thing. I was like, wow, I had completely forgotten Paul Pierce was here. What are you doing here, Paul?
Yeah. It's like that when he broke it, it's like you didn't want that to be the ending. It's a little bit like Stranger Things. You're like hoping there's another ending coming. You know what I mean? And you're like, this can't be just.
I'm still hoping.
Yeah. But yeah, he's, and I'm kind of glad he's not in it. He's just like this character over here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, like, that was one where it was like, I'm probably spending a little too much time on it. Again, the real estate and a 20.
Yeah, dude.
It's hard.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I was like, I'm giving Paul a full minute and a half or whatever he deserves. That is just too funny, and the sound bites from it were too funny. Josiah Johnson has probably one of my favorite ones where he's from Inglewood. It's so good.
Yeah. He left a memory as well. I love that dude to begin with, but all his lines were just like absolute dynamite. Love that guy.
He rose to the occasion.
Yeah, he was awesome. So that might have been our first dealing in like real kind of trauma. There was another one, 2025. Might have heard of this. Yeah. Where we, I say we, as if I still work there, as if I'm still a part of the fan base. In any way, I'm not. The Luka trade. That was our second swim through, I think, a big public grieving process that all of us were doing. What's your relationship with Dallas Mavericks basketball now? And if you have any thoughts on the Luka trade that you haven't shared everywhere, like, you can throw them here. It's a safe space. We're in the trust tree.
I've said everything I could possibly say about it. Yeah. Wasn't a fan. It is. I think one of the. I guess no. I haven't been asked about it in a while, and I would say like the one thing that's like very. It's very. I forget how like frustrating it is to be a Luka fan. I've been watching a lot of Laker games, and I don't mean that towards him. I actually just mean it towards like he just plays a style that wins games, but in a way that like dorks don't like. So you're just constantly hearing about how it's, they're not that good and blah blah blah. But I'm like, they're like, I don't know, they're doing a lot better than a lot of people thought. And then I just flash back to Dallas days, and I'm like, that was like his whole story every time they had any success here. It was like, and that just seems to be the ultimate Luka experience. I mean, like, look, and with time, it's sort of like it's just funny to look at this Lakers roster, see how like kind of wonky it is. It's funny to look at the Mavs roster, see how it was so perfect for Luka, and you just kind of go like, I think with time, I'm just like more and more bummed about it as a fan of him, because I'm like, man, like, I love basketball history. Again, not to overly reference Bill Simmons, but like I come from that mindset of like caring about legacy, caring about, all-time greats and stuff like that. And it's like that trade like might be the difference between him being like a top 10 player and like a top 20 player, 25 player. You know what I mean? Like literally because of how much winning matters to people in the sort of overall discourse of things. So, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. So many people have been like, "Are you going to do a viral on that?" I'm like, I actually don't know if I can. Like,
that might break you. That might be it.
Yeah, it might break me, but I might do a viral on Mike Marshall's appearance on Jake's show, because that caught fire.
Shout out.
Didn't it?
Yeah, nobody was mad about that at all.
No, no letters, no emails, nothing from
Nope.
people
Sure.
that could have been no representation was emailing
Were you
me.
surprised by how much or did you expect it to kind of blow up?
I never think anybody cares about anything I ever say. So, and I was tired of saying it because I had said it internally for so long. Everything. So it wasn't news to me, and it wasn't news to people that were in my ecosystem. Even the dudes I was talking to, they knew all that, or most of it. Or at least Jake did. Because
I feel like you and I have this thing in common where I forget that the internet is just so crazy that you can get aggregated even if you feel like you're at nothing. Like it happened to me last summer. I'd spoken to somebody in Luka's camp who had said that because I was trying to get him to do something. This is how the whole thing happened. I was trying to get him to do something, and they were like, no, he's already in Slovenia, and he's like taking the diet thing. He's working out like crazy. He's like already like, working really hard. And I like said that on a podcast, and then it was just like clutched points to, it was like LeBron producer says blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh,
yeah. Dude, as soon as you have a tag, that is those first two words, LeBron producer.
producer.
Yeah, I was like
Mavs
freaking out. I
exec.
was like,
that was mine.
oh crap, I had done something wrong. Thank God, 2 weeks later he released the men's health thing, and then I looked like real good. So
I was like, don't tag me as Mavs exec. You have to say machine, okay? Like then see if you still want to aggregate it, or if you want to sound crazy. Man, I don't know. It's I was surprised people were as surprised. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, people that knew me knew I had built my entire career up to that role, doing that. Yeah. And so,
well, I think what made it so impactful for me consuming it is that you actually, like, I don't know how you are, obviously, drinking out with friends. I'm sure you let it fly, but like, you're pretty buttoned up, I'd say, in terms of what you put out there. And for you to let it fly, I was like, oh yeah, they fucked up.
It makes you wonder what they might have done to motivate somebody.
You're so protective of the brand, like you had been in the past. Not to the extent of like a Mark Followell, but you are protective of the brand.
Yeah.
And I think that I always admire that about people. I wish I could be that way, but I can't. And so for you to kind of let it fly, that's when I was like, oh yeah. They must have been real bad. Yeah. I knew internally it was bad, but I mean to speak publicly, like it must have been real bad.
That's probably an accurate read. I'll say that. What you mentioned, I wanted to touch on. They are experiencing every single Luka January that has ever happened in the NBA right now, where people start doubting whether he's that guy or whether he's good enough.
I saw shot selection discourse going around about it the other day.
Yeah, it's all happening. They're just getting like the microwave version.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it really did. Is the James Franco, is this your first time meme to all my Laker friends, where I'm just like, yo, this is every year. This is every year. Yep. And it is not going to change. And it's like, look, do I think the Lakers are going to win the West? No. Would I be that shocked? No, because he is that good. And he is that Healy. I don't look, I think that the NBA has advanced to a level that's really hard to succeed at the highest of levels with that heliocentric thing. But there's no greater variable in the playoffs than Luka Doncic, and like it's just a fact. I just think he's his ability to sort of just crush your soul. We've seen it too many times. It's demoralizing, and it's like a mental blender. I mean, we use that term a lot in Mind the Game, where it's like the first team to get the other team into blender basically wins. And it's like Luka can like get people into blender alone, and it's a fascinating thing. I don't know. This Lakers roster seems rough, but he's done a lot with very similar style.
Yeah. This is every year, and nothing's going to change for the rest of his career, unless perhaps you have a GM that wants to weaponize that kind of stuff and maybe make a power play out of it. Wonder who would do such a thing.
Yeah, but that guy doesn't work here anymore.
But he still lives there. What's he doing? Did you tweet about this? Did you tweet about like?
I was like, it's maniacal that he still lives here and goes out.
But you saw the clips.
My respect for him is like this. But the fact every time I see he's like in Dallas, I'm kind of like. Yeah. I respect it a little bit.
Like in medieval times, like just hanging out. Like, what the hell, bro?
But did you see the clips that were going around last month, though, where they had to escort him out of a bar because he was getting booed mercilessly in the bar? Did y'all not see this?
Dude, move away. Go to a new school.
I don't get it. Is the mortgage that bad? Like, I don't understand. Like, go somewhere.
I thought after this semester break, I was like, yeah, I get if your kids are here, that's tough. I get it. If you own property here.
It's strange because he doesn't seem to. It never seemed like he liked Dallas.
Right.
Like I remember when he set his Instagram to public, and I was alerted of this by some other Mavs fans. And so you take one quick scroll, you would never know he even lived in Dallas. Like you would think he lived in Pittsburgh because he posted about the Steelers so much. Mm-hmm. But
I know someone who's on a board with him, and like there's been a lot of willpower to be like, I'm not going to ask questions. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm not going to ask the things I want to ask. I'm just going to nod and talk about the things for the kids. I'm not going to ask questions.
That's probably right.
So you're even in your Mavs fandom absentia, you are still an influential Mavs fan voice. So I will ask you this because you were a very big thought leader when the Lucas stuff's going down. Has Cooper Flagg's arrival changed anything for you? Do you see a pathway back now that they have a dude who looks pretty damn incredible and is saying all the right things for an 18-year-old dude as well?
Pathway back to success, you mean?
But for you, no, I'm saying just you having a relationship as a Mavs fan, like, because I think there are a lot of folks who mistakenly assumed like once they fire Nico, it's all going to be hunky-dory again. That's not the case for a lot of people, but there are a lot of people who latch on to Cooper and say, okay, here's something to be excited about as opposed to what the nuclear wasteland would have been if they didn't hit on that 1.8% chance. For you, is Cooper bringing you back to some kind of feelings or some roadmap of maybe after another year or two passes, I can like this thing in some way that I recognize again?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think right now I've settled into this sort of like agnosticism. Like I can't really bring myself. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I like so many players and teams. Like, there's basically a handful of teams that I like to watch, and that I find myself kind of cheering for them very naturally. They're all like rivals, which is sort of funny, but it's like 5 teams, and I feel like I have like a positive view of them. The Mavs have made their way into that grouping, but I don't know if I like feel that level of love that I once felt, or loyalty, I guess, that I once felt. And I mean, like, look, it's honestly less about Cooper and more of like the organization needs to openly acknowledge that they made a mistake, and that's where the firing of Nico had like I've been consistent since day one that the sooner they get to that, the sooner it is that people like me can start to accept it, and who knows what snowball happens from there. But like, I just could never ever get behind a team that guy was affiliated with, and it has to do with my belief in the people who work in the sport should have a certain baseline level of respect for fans. Even if you find them annoying, you should still respect that they matter, and he just didn't seem to have that, and so that really bothered me, and what the sort of Mavs had sort of become. Now, obviously, it's not like they got the the best people in there right now, but that's like the one controllable thing that they could signal to the fans to say we see and hear you. So that was a bigger step than anything Cooper's done. I love Cooper, watching him, and you know, again, like I watched the fourth quarter of the game last night, and I'm like, man, I love some of these players. Like, you know, like I like, you know, feel bad for Clay and Najee and these guys that, like, I was like, damn, this is like the perfect Luka roster. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's a long way of me saying that, like, when they fired Nico, I kind of like they fell into this zone of, like, I do feel positively towards them, but I wouldn't say like I overly care.
Yeah, the way I've kind of thought about it is everything post Luka trade until Nico firing was just like flat out anger and like betrayal, right? That you felt, and now that you've removed the one thing you could positively affect, like, now you can actually start grieving about what you've lost.
Yes.
Right?
Great way to put it.
And so I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if it ever comes back in the same way. I'm about to be 40 years old, right? I don't need a basketball team in my life like that necessarily, or taking up my time as I did when I was 10 years old going to Mavs camps.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that was the one thing that I really felt like what you said, the post-Luka trade to pre-Nico firing, that sort of interim period. I think it was really frustrating for fans to, like, I made the mistake of tweeting something and, you know, shock. But it was like, it was basically saying that the way the Mavs have handled it is almost as bad as the trade itself. And of course, everyone's like, no, it's worse than the trade. Obviously, I agree with that. But it made me, like, really hate them, the way that they handled everything post trade, even to the degree of, like, you know, Cuban would go on DLLS and talk about fans like they were stupid. And I like, again, I don't think he actually believes that, but the way he's talking about him, like, well, winning will fix everything. No, it won't. Right. If Nico's around, it does not matter. I promise you it doesn't matter. And I'm not the only fan that feels that way. I know that. And I'm not just some angry fan. Like, I'm actually somebody that bought into what it is you were selling. So you know, a lot, that was the stuff that was really driving me kind of crazy, was this sort of, like, you know, this idea that, like, Cooper was the plan and, like, oh, they'll just fall in line.
Yeah.
You know, well, at the same interview, you know, he's talking about, like, well, I've kind of fallen out of love with the game because it's become private equity, this and that. I'm like, oh, so you're saying there's more to the game than just money and wins? And maybe there's a heart and soul that we all felt, and that, you know, that it's more than that. So, you know, like I said, last night I was, like, cheering for the Mavs. I wanted them to win. It was cool. They won.
Progress.
Healing. You are a Oklahoma native, have been for I don't know how long, but as long as I think I've known you. It's been pretty fun watching the Thunder turn into what the Thunder are, and probably the scariest franchise in the NBA in a long time, with just a shelf full of more picks on the way. Obviously, they're getting into the fun questions of, can you keep that team together and all that, but being, you know, an ex-MFFL, whatever you want to translate that to, and living up there and experiencing a Thunder title last year so quickly, I think maybe a year or two ahead of schedule for what people had predicted. What was that like? How did that hit you?
It was really cool because it's such a small community, you know, and so when the Thunder won, it felt like the whole. I'll never forget. I think they won on a Sunday. Parade was Tuesday. It just felt like nobody worked that whole week. Like, it was kind of funny. Like, people who took off Monday to prepare for the parade. You know what I mean? Like, it was really fun. That's what I would say. Like, because the 2011 finals, there was so much emotional stock. You know what I mean? I was living in Chicago. I was watching every single dribble like it was the last thing on earth, and it was not healthy. And it's obviously informed by the previous 5 years, 2006, 2007, one and done boys, all this other stuff. So every step is, like, excruciating. So when you finally won, it was so cathartic. that it was like almost just sort of like I lost control of myself and I just like, was floating. The Thunder, what was like none of that pressure whatsoever. It was just a good time. So that I much prefer that. It was, like I said, it was really fun. My son's a Thunder fan. I think, he was a Mavs fan, but I do think that it was like one of those things where it was like, Dad's making me be a Mavs fan, but this really fun team is right there.
Yeah.
And so once the Luka trade happened, I'm sure I would love to, like, if you ever asked him, like, was he secretly happy? Like, I don't know.
Freedom. He was released.
Oh, he was like immediate. I used to not let him get other jerseys. He'd be like, "Can I get a LeBron?" I'd be like, "No." Like, you work with him. Like, I don't care. Like, you can't. And now he obviously has a bunch of jerseys, and
he just knocks open a trap door in his closet, and like 10 New Jerseys fall out. And he's like, "What the hell, dude?"
Exactly. So it was in that respect, it was fun seeing him excited, and it was very cool.
Well, it's a buzzer beater to get you out of here. Quick rapid fire ones. The first one, DeAndre Jordan, one of many, 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 many Mavs free agent letdowns. Which one hurt you the most?
Ooh, in the moment, definitely DeAndre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it was so close. We were there. It was done.
Yeah.
And so. And it's always informed by a little bit of the past. And so it's like swing and a miss. Ooh, we got it. Yes. And it's like, we're finally accepted, by somebody loves us. And then it's like, nope. And then you sink into this, like, he shouldn't be loud.
Yeah.
It's just, you just become an idiot for a short amount of time. So definitely
I think my number one, well, not the one that hurts the most, but I think it's the first time it happened. I think Rashard Lewis was like let's go for the big name free agent. Like, he's going to fly here. It's like the first time you heard about somebody like tracking a plane, right? And that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Rashard Lewis was that for me. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Rashard Lewis would definitely want to come here and play with Dirk. That makes so much sense now that you say it out loud. And I was like, they don't give a shit about us. What are we talking about? Like, he's getting a free dinner and like hanging out with somebody. It didn't matter at all. But all right, scale of 1 to 10. How much does JJ Redick hate Chandler Parsons?
I'm not gonna air out dirty laundry.
He used the word. He used the word in the show.
He said it himself.
That's what brought us here.
I gave him room to walk it back, and
Nice.
he never did. So I've never asked him on the 1 to 10 scale, but it's definitely probably up there. I don't know. He doesn't speak negatively publicly about players like ever. So the fact that he was like cool with that being in there, I was like, all right.
Solid. We'll say a solid 7.5.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, I think that's
One of your many, many, many great shows and gigs is Mind the Game. A lot of smart people come on there. What guest on Mind the Game taught you the most about basketball?
Oh man, that's really. I mean, it's hard not to say that LeBron, in some ways, didn't, but probably Steph. I mean, Steph, in the sense that, like, I think his approach to the game is so unique and cool, and I just don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. So I don't know, I think it's just cool when you hear like these all-time greats and their sort of like approach to life and the game and stuff like that. It's like I really do think that people think that like Mind the Game is some sort of performative whatever, and I'm like, I don't. Everybody who walks into there, it like takes it pretty seriously, is pretty sincere about it, and like. I can just say, like, from personal experience working with LeBron and then hearing it sort of validated with Steph and KD, it's like they're how serious they take this stuff is like so. It's just so cool to me. I don't know, like their desire to be great and their desire to, and their understanding of what they are in the world in terms of what kids are listening to. I think like some of the most amazing stuff that's happening with LeBron at age 41 is like he's still teaching people how to like I don't know, play the game the right way, which is like just a really cool thing. Like he's bought into his system. He's like it's just I don't know. I think it's I've been like romanticized by the whole process of it all. And when we had Luca on, to be honest, like I think it's like I remember one thing that Mark Cuban said that I really agree with, which is he's basically like somebody asked him about like the beer and stuff like that, and he was just like, you'll just never understand like the culture over there. And I just like Luca's love of the game as a game is so unique in my opinion. And I don't think I'm not saying, but like I think that there are probably some American born players that look at basketball as like a means to a lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that Luca like actually loves it. And like you can hear it, even though he can't articulate it well, you can still feel it. And when he came on Mind the Game, we'd had him on Old Man and the Three in the past. Right. You had to like beg him to open up. Like you had to like really ask. And Mind the Game was like the first time he was voluntarily chiming in about his learning how to play basketball and him falling in love with the game and how he like approached it growing up. I just think I don't know. I think that's really cool. I think that like hearing those all-time greats talk about stuff like that is so cool. That was a really long question. I know this is like rapid fire.
No,
you're good.
That was awesome.
That was great. It's like an old school commitment to a craft.
Yeah.
That we probably all grew up thinking is the key to success through discipline and intelligence paired together, right? Like that's how our parents probably taught us that's how you're going to get anywhere. But this is a game and a craft that constantly changes. And so it's like you have to like, and you never get to see what those dudes talk about behind the scenes or how they attack anything. And it's fascinating. It's an incredible show.
But you probably know when the lights go off and the camera goes off, they're still talking about it. And that's like, that's so cool to me. And like if I could ever interview anybody, it would probably like in an open forum, not about a specific subject. It probably would be JJ. I've never met anyone in the entirety of basketball ever that feels like that feels about basketball like it's a personal relationship. Like he feels he owes so much to this thing that gave him so much that it's like a disservice to his whole life if he doesn't give everything back to it. It's like real too. Like, no, I mean, I think it's so cool. And, so sometimes I get like a little frustrated when I'll see the stuff, criticize, freaking there's, guys on Twitter that are like, why does LeBron do the podcast? And it's like, why does he talk about basketball for 2 hours a month? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I've been completely like, it's honestly giving me like a new level of appreciation for the guys. So for the fellas.
I'm gonna go off show sheet for one question.
There you go.
What the hell does Tommy do?
A great question. I would consider him to be one of my closest friends that I know nothing about.
He seems like the coolest dude on earth that's in every room I want to be in, and I'm like, I want to be him when I grow up. What does he do?
What does he do? Well, I'll tell you this. He and I became friends because we were oftentimes at the Ringer. We were like first people to arrive, last people to leave types. Like, and I did not know what he did. I did not know anything about him. I just knew he would. When I walked in at like 7:30 in the morning, he was going to be there. And he saw me as a talented person, and we connected or whatever. But the man works extremely hard and is like grinding in a way that I don't think I can physically put my body through. The amount of flights he gets on to, do this or that, and he's just he's a really cool guy, but I don't know what he does. I like to share this story because it just is the perfect. He and I have nothing, like very little in common, but whenever we get together, it's the best. And but at the Ringer, he like walked into my office and is like, "What are you doing for 4th of July?" And I was like, "Probably just gonna hang out with my family, He was like, "Do you want to come to Amsterdam with me, PFT, and Jesus?" And I was like,
"Yeah, I do."
Yeah, let me run that by my wife real quick. Like, is that any of their real names? And I'd be like, What is PFT? What's his name? I don't know.
I couldn't tell
But
you.
we're no.
I don't know Jesus' real name yet.
Yeah, no. Tommy's great. Tommy's great.
Awesome.
Shoot, I feel like the show sheet's anticlimactic after that.
No, it's all good.
That
It's all
was
good. I just sneaked that one in there.
No, you had to. I
knew
learned so much.
The next one was boring. It was how many games the Thunder are going to win this season, but you can say a million.
Yeah, I don't know. Not the record, I don't think.
Well, here's one more. You can get in your feelings for this one. Happy Mavs feelings. What is your favorite dirt game of all time?
Golly. I mean, it's gonna be it's either the game 7 against I like remember these moments, I guess, more than the games, but it's either the game 7 against the Spurs when they finally knocked him out of the playoffs and Manu fouled Dirk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It felt like a getting over a hump. But I'm like, I think my favorite game ever, like watching a game ever, is game 2 of the finals. Like, I just thought it was over. I thought the whole series was over. And it's probably my favorite, like, emotional experience watching a basketball game. So, I mean, I think that's like a pretty basic answer, but it's probably my answer. But I'll say this. My second favorite Mavs, like, squad is probably the Monte Ellis, Dirk Nowitzki. I've rode for them so hard, and
who was center? Was it Bogut or Dallenberg year?
I think Dallenberg.
I was thinking about that last night. I was like, Sam Dallenberg,
the Haitian sensation, baby.
And they were that close to beating the champs. They were like that close. They went to game 7. Rick Carlisle, freaking king.
That Vince Carter shot, man. That's one of those if you know, you know sort of deals.
If you know, you know. And it was like that whole season is if you know, like you know somebody's real if they remember that season.
Yeah.
That was the first year I got to do a post game show for CBS 11 because like all the games would like shift over, right? They'd get off Fox Sports Southwest and they'd go local, and that was like a pretty chill, like putting together a run sheet for an end of game. And then Vince Carter hits that 3, and it's, dude, like 4 bars of Adderall couldn't get me to this like freaking efficiency of like cranking out edits and in points and outs, and like I had like 16 looks at the Vince Carter 3, and I produced my ass off that night. Is what I'm trying to tell everyone.
You were almost as good as Vince out there.
Do you have when you think back, and it's not just math, do you have a least favorite basketball game you've ever watched?
A least favorite? Damn.
This is good.
I don't think I have one. I don't think I have one. Oh, I do. I do.
What is yours? Go. I'll do one. You do one, and then I'll do one more. So the first one is: do you remember when the Mavs were down by like 30 against the Thunder? They come back, and then they lost. It was so funny because I was watching in a bar in Oklahoma City, and like I was also on Mavs Twitter. Like collectively, nobody was happy. Like like everyone was like, that sucked. And that's one of them. Go ahead.
Mine was it was either game 3 or game 4, the first round series when we played against the Houston Rockets. It was like 13-14. We finally got back into the playoffs, and Barreo went off, and they won, but it was like they had been getting murdered by Josh Smith. Which is just like an agony that like you don't want to. Josh Smith murdered us, but Barreo was like one better. But then I knew like this is it. Like that team, that collection, these guys don't live here anymore. It's done. Like Dirk competing for anything is not going to be there.
I have one, which thankfully I was wrong about. But I feel like some of the worst ones were like in that stretch post 06. We're just like, here it is again. Something bad's going down. And I remember the Brandon Roy special in 11, because that felt like when they go down with 2-1 to Portland, and I just felt like fucking over, another year down the drain, because they were basically a coin flip. I feel like among most people picking that series to get out of the first round.
Most people pick Portland.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a clean like everybody's going for Portland. There were people who thought the Mavs would win, but it was by no means an easy series for what we thought that roster was. And Brandon Roy just dices them up, and I'm like, this is it. just one year after another. I remember vividly going to the All-Star game that was at AT&T, and I remember Dirk coming out. And this was the year before. This was 2010. I remember him coming up, getting introduced last, and the place going nuts. And I remember like taking in the moment and thinking like, enjoy this because the ring's never happening. This is kind of the big moment that we kind of have to like. This is something we have to savor for him because it's gonna end at some point, and it's gonna be the big donut where everything else is there except the thing in the middle that you want most. So enjoy this thing because that's how it felt. And then the next year happens and Brandon Roy's carving him up, and I'm like, here we are again. Just another thing that's just going to go down the drain. And we're going to do this 5 more times. And then the best Maverick any of us are ever going to watch just won't have the thing. And then thankfully I was wrong. And the next 2 months are just like the most exciting thing any of us have ever seen. But in the moment, Brandon Roy felt like he was just crushing everybody's dreams.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer because it's emotional. It's like definitely not the way I was going was like aesthetically just the worst game.
That's not a wrong way to take it either.
That felt like a knife in the chest. I remember that so vividly too. That one sucked. But I think any game where Charlie Villanueva played more than 15 minutes.
Damn, targeting 15 yards. Targeting 15 yards.
I was furious. I remember I definitely need to burn whatever phone I was texting about Charlie. I was texting. I could not stand him. And then last year in the playoffs, I went to every single Thunder home playoff game.
Oh wow!
I took my wife to one, and it happened to be game 1 against the Nuggets, and the Thunder implemented the foul up 3 unsuccessfully, and it was like watching someone be murdered with a butter knife. It was awful. It was the worst thing, and I can't stress enough how much I hope the NBA does something about that. It was awful, and it was like it last 30 seconds took like 25 minutes.
It's not basketball.
No,
my wife was like, this sucks. I don't want to come to a game ever again. It was like an 8:30 tip anyways, so it was like, just what in the world? What is this? And I hated it. I remember thinking like, why would you do? You took your crowd out. You took home court out.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know. Like no one was excited. It was awful. And I distinctly remember that being my least favorite in-person basketball game of all time. I was like, I hate this.
Well, it's like you play 46 minutes of this one sport, and in the final 2 minutes, you're like, let's play baseball for 2 minutes. How about that? Would everybody like that?
It's crazy. It's like I do hope the league does something because it's like this strategy to like eliminate game winners. It's like that sucks. I know it is definitely the smart thing to do if you can do it correctly, but it sucks.
Yeah, I'll end us on a high with a story from 2011. It's right after that series you were talking about. You might have heard this before. You might have too. But it's after the Portland series, which we won, which no one was predicting we were going to win, right? And I was so excited, man. My favorite band at the moment, which was the biggest rock band in America, Arcade Fire, was coming to Starplex.
It's while they were still at the Apex. Yep.
Yeah, Starplex or Smirnoff or Yellow Pages or whatever it's called now. Biggest venue you could get in Dallas back then, right? That wasn't like AAC or something. And
all my concerts were there.
Yeah, exactly. My first one, Hootie and the Blowfish back in the day.
Hootie.
You went to Hootie?
Hootie. It's my first ever concert.
I told you we need to do a story about the Hootie concert, dude. I've said it for years.
He's been saying this, that everybody says they went to see Hootie. I have not said I went to see Hootie, but he's like, everybody has said they've gone to see that Hootie.
It was my first concert, too.
My number one. Yeah, that's great. Look at us.
Yeah, there's a whole group of us
that
are like
there.
the change makers in the world now.
That's it.
I know. Hootie really inspired a generation.
They really did. They put on such a good show.
Anyways, continue. Sorry to cut you.
No, you're good. That's important to know. That's more important than whatever I'm about to say.
Probably not on Hootie, but continue.
So I go to Arcade Fire show, and I'm really excited. I'm super Mavs nerd, as I have been my whole life. And I go to this Arcade Fire show, and I'm like, man, this is great. The Suburbs is such a groundbreaking album. Like, they're doing all their hits. I think they play Wake Up or something, right? And everyone's just on such a high. So they do a little bit of banter. Win Butler wants to do some banter with the crowd. And he's like, hey, so yeah, we went out to, what's up, Dallas? We went out to eat last night in this French restaurant. We bumped into, what's his name? Tyson Chandler? Everyone's like, woo, fuck yeah. And Wynn's up there, and he goes, yeah, it was great. He was very sweet. Met him and his wife. Who do y'all have next round? And everyone goes, Lakers or Kobe. And he goes, good luck with that. And everyone's like, just turns on him immediately. And turns out, yeah, it was good luck. We were good enough to whoop the Lakers.
Spoken
ass.
like a man who is from suburban Houston, just trying to troll everybody in Dallas.
Yeah,
Barkley did something very similar, and when the Mavs beat the Suns a few years ago in the playoffs, and then they had to come back, and they were losing to the Warriors in the conference finals, and Barkley bought everyone's drink at the bar.
Nice.
Because he was like, y'all are done.
Yeah.
He like announced it. He was like, it's the end of the road for you guys. Here's a free drink.
Well, at least he's right about that. Listen, Win Butler was not only wrong, but Arcade Fire never made a good album again after that. So, I mean, joke's on you, Win. Joke's on you.
And also,
hey, you know what? To bring it all full circle, when JJ played in New Orleans, he lived in Win Butler's like garage apartment.
Whoa!
Oh, damn. Wow.
Because he like refused to buy a house there.
There's a whole thing. Maybe you could get to the bottom of this. This feels like a thing that would be Ringer adjacent or very in your orbit. How do rich people find listings like that? Because it's not like the rest of the world can go rent Win Butler's garage apartment.
I think it was a friend of a friend. Yeah. No, it was a friend of a friend, and it was like JJ's playing for the Pelicans, but he was like so hell bent on I live in Brooklyn that he like was not. It's why he lived in that apartment in Dallas. Whatever. And then so he had part of the time he lived with Win Butler, and then part of the time he lived with Josh Hart and his like new wife. Like it was just crashing on
sitcom status. Yeah.
My understanding, the only way to find a new place is through Prince and Carlos Boozer. Y'all remember that story?
I do remember that story.
That's how you find new listings in new towns.
There's a story in here somewhere. That's all I'm saying.
That's great. No, that's awesome. You landed the plane. Good job. We weren't going to do it. So
no.
Fantastic. Jason Gallagher, the
man.
Absolute best. Lifelong friend. Love you, pal. Happy for you. Congratulations on the show.
Watch Viral the Indecision on Amazon Prime.
Thanks. It's so short.
Breezy.
It's breezy.
All right.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, dude.
Love you, dude.
All right. Bye.
That was Jason Gallagher. That was a lot of fun. Also very fun. Go check out Viral the Indecision on Prime. It is a blast of half an hour that doesn't hurt you nearly as much emotionally as it did 10 years ago. Holidays are over, Mike.
They are.
Back to real life.
Uh-huh.
We were jolly.
Yeah.
We got to get a little less jolly now. You know, we got to steel ourselves for the new year, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike Marshall, who do you hate?
You know what's more popular than I ever gave it the proper credence during the holiday season? The Grinch.
Yeah, he's out there. He's doing things.
People love the Grinch for some reason. I don't know if I'm the Grinch in this scenario or the Texas Rangers are the Grinch for stealing everyone's joy about baseball. Already, man, it's January. It's first week of January, and I feel awful about how this Texas Rangers season is going to go. And that's because I don't really think that they are trying. They're trying to save money. I don't think they're trying to field the best team they can possibly field. I think saving money is the number one priority this offseason, and I don't know if you can hang any banners from that or if a fan base is going to get too fired up about that. But a payroll that's around $175 million when everyone thought it was probably going to be around $200 for a team that's legitimately claiming to want to compete in the American League, that's laughable to me. That's not in the top half of baseball in terms of payroll. If they sucked, or they were in a rebuilding year, or if they had about 6 different prospects that were ready to hit the lineup and change this thing around, or maybe if their problems weren't just so damn obvious on the offensive side, I could tolerate this. I could deal with it. I could say, hey, not every year you're going to go for it in baseball. You got to save up and go for it in those big seasons. But they still have enough payroll where it's an annoying amount. They have loaded veterans across the board. If you're not interested in competing right now with this thing, trade Corey Seager. Like, what do you do? What is he doing here? What are all these pitchers doing here that are north of 33 years old if you're not actually trying? This feels awful. This feels like apathy. This feels like your ownership group has given up on you. What they're running at this point in time, as of right now, there is time. There is some time left in the season to sign, and there's some good players left. But right now, what it feels like to me is that the Texas Rangers are running an 81-game roadside motel for people to hang out at in the summer when it's too damn hot outside. That's what it feels like. Come out here and hang out and just eat some hot dogs and popcorn with us because we're not really competing for anything. We're not going to be here for the whole winter. We just want you to come out and sit with us and enjoy our fancy new stadium. That's the draw. It sucks right now, man. Sell the team if you need money this bad. Because cutting $40 to $50 million off of a roster that finished 500 and has one winning season since 2016.
They did win all of it.
They did. There was a good one win. It was the one winning season was really, really nice. I will give you that. That was fun. Shame on you. Shame on you, man. Put some clothes on because your greed is showing.
I think that's a sufficient amount of hate. I think you delivered.
That worked?
I understand.
I just want them to do anything, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
Show me you care, and they're doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's beyond frustrating, and we've talked about it. We're going to keep talking about it, and just, it's hard to sell this as something other than what it is. Like, there's not even cover fire for whatever the plan is. It is very much just try kind of, and we'll stay at these parameters kind of. We're not paying a luxury tax again, even though they broke the luxury tax, by the way, by a hilariously little amount. It's like less than $1 million.
Yeah. It's bad accounting. Get you a good CPA. They can take care of that for you.
There's a whole other conversation to be had about, like, how I don't think anybody in baseball knows how this works, like, let alone the people like us on the outside. I don't think the people inside completely get how this goes.
Yeah.
But if you're freaking out that much about a repeater tax, it's not really going to be that much money. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and it's all opportunity cost to me because I feel like they are a bat or two away from having a legitimate lineup that stacks completely different than last year. And it's, if you learned anything over the last couple of years, money can lead to direct impact on your lineup.
Well, yeah.
Like that, man.
Well,
you can buy a better lineup.
So, early teaser, spoiler alert, Baseball Prospectus every year does the BP annual. It's one of my favorite pieces of physical media. It's, a giant, it's the one-stop shop for everything you need to know about getting nerdy about the baseball season, and there are essays about every team, and I'm writing the Rangers essay this year.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. That's very cool.
Yeah, I've done it before. It's a great time. And
he's going to use everything I just said?
Yeah, I'm just going to copy that, paste that, cross out Marshall, put Palucci at the end of it.
That's fine. I give you permission to do that on record, on the official record. Whoever's keeping
Don't sue Baseball Prospectus.
Yes.
Don't sue.
He can use everything I just said. That's totally
Zero
fine.
lawsuits.
Yeah.
But part of the thing that my editor, the great Craig Goldstein, and I for that project talked about was the idea that a lot of teams are taking the wrong lessons from the new playoff format of baseball, which is that it should be a lot of teams get in, anything can happen, invest resources, and prevent variance. That's what the Dodgers do, right? That's why the Dodgers repeated in the most wide open baseball field era, ever. The Rangers are starting to do the opposite of what a lot of other teams do, which is a lot of people get in, a lot of weird stuff can happen. Maybe if we just do whatever it takes, the bare minimum to get in, we can get lucky and win. And that's not what this is supposed to be. And that's not really what the history of this team is, right? This is a team that, like, freaking bought A-Rod for buku bucks back in the day. This is a team that, when they won the World Series, spent a lot of money that they weren't really ready to spend as far as roster construction, but it worked. Like, it's kind of antithetical to the whole Rangers enterprise of, like, we're going to spend, and it might not always be smart, but we're going to try. I feel like the front office is pretty smart these days. And I feel like a lot of this isn't necessarily on them all the time, but they are not spending. And it's just a damn waste because it doesn't have to be this way. You have Corey Seager. You have Jacob deGrom. You will not have them for long.
Yeah.
Make something happen, guys. Come on.
It's a ticking time bomb. It's as if, like, the Cowboys roll into this next season and don't push all in the final years of Dak. That's what it feels like.
As if or as when?
They're going for it. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But it would feel that way if you're going, okay.
Yeah.
2 more years of these guys being what they're supposed to be, playing to their paper, it's a lot of paper for both those dudes.
Yep.
You said the key phrase right there, which is planning to be lucky. Like that's what the Rangers are doing right now. Let's just get in and see what happens, guys. And I hate that mentality.
No, it's terrible
across the board.
I hate it in small markets, and this is not a small market.
Yeah, we can't play small market baseball here, and I just think they are one or two pieces away from being legitimate, and it's going to be another around 500 season, and you've predetermined that.
Yeah,
you've chosen your own path.
Yep.
I don't have to go along with you. I really don't. My fandom is optional in this space. I'll check in if I think you're legitimately trying and you got something to look at, but it's not guaranteed. I know a lot of people are. They're dyed in the wool. Gonna watch my Texas Rangers every time I can type people.
Shout out Jamie Newberg, our pal. He'll be on here at some point.
Yeah, on that grind. I decided a long time ago that grind is too long for me.
Yeah.
I did Rangers like audio stringer roll for like one season for the ticket, and
that aged you.
Brother, you got to get there like 4 p.m. Yep. You were there till midnight.
Yep.
I think there was one game in which we had like a rain delay and then extra innings, and that broke me. It broke me. And I was just like, this is not the life for me. But yeah, man, there's time to change it. There's still good players out there. You can make a big splash. You can
not too late.
You can shift the arrangement in the room with a couple different purchases. You just have to want to. And the want to can't be saving money as priority one. So shame on you guys. Do something about it. Hope this fires you up.
Bullying works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bullying
works.
Bullying does work.
Mike Marshall just tried to bully the Texas Rangers. We're gonna see if it works. We're gonna see you guys next week. Thanks for rolling with us. We'll see you then.